Good morning, gang. Happy Saturday morning. Okay, so does anybody else get the feeling that our government, the people that are supposed to represent us, don't at all anymore? Yeah, there's a there's a real stretch. If you paid attention yesterday and saw that the Congress approved the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Agreement, basically the budget for the military next year, you'd think, hey, that's a good thing. And I mean, it passed overwhelmingly. It was 310 to 118. Good. What? Democrats got on board with actually funding the military? Go figure. Funding our defense, not funding Border Patrol, mind you this. Okay. Even the Border Patrol agents are going, we've been hung out to dry here. I guess 30% of the border crossers now coming across the southern border are Chinese. Figure that one out. Whole lot of people escaping China to the United States via Mexico. That sounds like the most direct route, doesn't it? Okay. But the NDAA, okay, defending our country, the National Defense Authorization Agreement. Yeah, there were a couple of things in there that they snuck in that I don't think Americans are too happy about. Okay. The first one, Section 702. You guys know what that is? That's the authorization for warrantless searches on foreign nationals, okay, not American citizens. We don't have to get a warrant to go wiretap or something foreign nationals. Except the problem is that the government has a tendency to use that against Americans. And for some goofy reason, Congress overwhelmingly supported the surveillance, the continued surveillance of people. So that means they want to, they can wiretap your phone. They can read your email. They can read your regular mail if they want. Okay. It's not like the TV shows that, oh, we need DNA from this guy. Let's wait till he throws out a coffee cup or something. No, they can just go get it. Okay. They don't need a court order to do it. Okay. That's called a police state. That's called government overreach. That's what we've gotten into with this. Yeah. 300, what did I say? 310 congressmen voted for that. You might want to check to see how yours did. Okay. Because we're quickly getting a list. And I think by next year, I'm going to wind up putting a list together of everybody in the United States that's running and where they voted on certain issues. That's going to take a shitload of work. But I think that's something important to go put out so people realize what it is. And I mean, when I'm talking, I mean, that's going to be hundreds of hours of work, guys. But I think it's worth it because the public is not educated about who they vote for. Too many people vote for a candidate just because there's a D or an R behind their name. And it's about time that people start opening their eyes and go, wait a minute. My guy voted for that? Everybody talks about the big issues. Oh, let's talk about abortion. Don't be a single issue voter. I'm just saying, okay? And if there aren't any candidates that meet your criteria, make some noise, okay? But that's not the only thing that was in the NDAA yesterday. This one tells you about everything you need to know about 2024's election and how scared they are and how they all know that Trump is going to win. Okay, I don't care about all the love that Nikki Haley's getting. Oh, Chris Sununu endorsed her. BFD. It's the governor of New Hampshire who's a rhino anyway. Okay. Fox News is in love with Nikki Haley. Anybody but Trump. Okay. Again, even though Trump has a 49% or 49-point lead on Nikki Haley, Sununu came out and said Nikki Haley's going to be the nominee. In what bizarro world? Okay. There's nobody nobody on the stage in the Republican Party who has a chance of winning, because like most people, I don't care if they select her as the nominee. I'm writing in Donald Trump, period. Okay. And I think a lot of other people will too. It's going to be really interesting when the map that we see in 2024 has red and blue. Hypothetically, let's say Nikki Haley got the nomination, and all of a sudden they're putting all these states up in green or yellow or purple or whatever, because neither Biden nor Haley won the state. Trump did. Interesting, right? He wasn't even on the ballot. Yeah, but people have spoken, and I know y'all are going to tell me again, voting doesn't matter. I'm sick of it. But why do I say they are so worried about Trump winning and they're doing anything they can to prevent it? Something else that was in the NDAA yesterday was really interesting. There's a provision in there that says the only way that the United States can get out of NATO is with an act of Congress. Now, you certainly know that they're not doing this because of anything Biden's doing, because Biden's got no problem giving every penny in the United States to fund NATO and fund the war in Ukraine. Okay. Of course, he wants his kickback. So it's certainly not that. But Trump has made no bones about the fact that we need to be out of NATO. Like I said the other day, of 30 countries in NATO, only 10 are meeting their funding goals. They all expect us to defend them. Germany's classic for it. Hey, you know what? We're one of the richest countries in the world, but shit, if somebody else will pay for our defense, why should we bother? Right? And Trump keeps saying the United States needs to get out of NATO. I agree. Okay. NATO is an 80-year-old outdated concept. Okay? The biggest threat to the world is gone. Okay. The Cold War has been over for 30 years. Russia is not a threat to the United States. Or not, let's put it this way, not remotely close to the biggest threat to the United States. Every country in the world, one way or another, is a threat to the United States. Okay? Our biggest threat is China. Russia's on the same threat level as, say, Iran is. They aren't a minuscule threat, but they aren't a serious threat. China is a serious threat. Is all of Europe going to help defend the United States against, any sort of attack by China? Fat effing chance. Okay. Nope, we're not. Sorry, it has nothing to do with us. And again, I go back to anytime there's a disaster around the world, something happens, the whole world's screaming, did the United States send money, send people, send equipment, send whatever? Sure. Something happens in the United States, crickets. Okay. Australia sent a few fire jumpers. Really, please tell me the last time we've heard anything that the Brits, the French, the Germans, whatever, have sent to, the Latvians, the Lithuanians, I don't care who, have sent to the United States and says, oh, gee, you've got wildfires going on, let us help. Oh, gee, you had hurricane damage. Oh, gee, you had tornado damage, let us help. Gee, you have a problem with invasions on the southern border, let us help. No, we don't see that. Okay. Makers and takers. And NATO is 29 takers in the United States. But that tells you how bad Congress is terrified of Donald Trump. Why would they put that provision into the NDAA that the president could not decide to take us out of NATO, when the president that they currently have is being led around by the cojones by NATO and doing whatever they want him to do, like a little puppy dog, where his biggest competitor is the exact opposite. You'd think this would be a bill they put into place when Trump was president, right? Nah. Why do they want to put it in place now? Because Joe Biden's got to sign it. Okay. And then however long it takes to repeal this, once it's in, it's law, right? Now you've got to do something to rescind that law. That becomes a little more difficult. If you haven't noticed by now, guys, our government does nothing for our people. All you and I are considered is worker bees. We can go out and make the money that they can steal and they can spend. That's it. They don't value your life. They don't care if you can house yourself, if you can feed yourself, if you can stay warm. They're doing everything they can to make sure you can't, okay? But God knows they want your money. We need 87,000 more IRS agents. Why? So we can continue to fleece the American public. Please tell me, all this spending that goes on in Washington, how much of it's earned? You hear all these stories about how Americans need to pay their fair share. Yet then you hear all the stories of how Congress is evading taxes. Interesting. You and I are expected to pay for it. They aren't. Are they telling us that they're not Americans? It sounds like to me. Pinball out.